had a couple questions about
Cool.
that. Is the real estate market really unaffordable, or are people just buying the wrong way?
For the average person in the major cities, it is unaffordable simply based on the math. You look at the average household income, you look at the average home to buy, it's skewed. On average, you're going to qualify for 5 times your household income. But if the average income is 70,000, right? And that gets you a mortgage of 350.
Well,
But the average home is 600,000. That's where the discrepancy lies.
Well, let's use real numbers, right? Like, what is the average income?
We'd have to see. You want to check?
Off the top of your head.
That's what I'm like average household, probably 70. Yeah.
Is it 70?
In all of Canada, probably.
Household, okay. And household can be more than one person.
Yeah, like 2 people in a house.
Okay, so 70. Okay, that sounds about right. And you're saying that...
I'm saying, which gets you a 350 mortgage, and the average home is significantly more than that. Whereas 50, 60 years ago, if you work a normal factory job and your wife stays at home, the wife wasn't working, the wife was staying at home and the man was working a job, they'd be able to buy a house. My grandfather, I think he bought his house, couldn't be more than 100,000. Like 50,000.
Well, but see, that's the thing. I think people get lost in the fact that this is really only an inflated market here in Toronto and Vancouver, realistically. You go to Alberta, which is where I, spent some time in, the average household price there is about, when I was there, $330,000, $340,000, call it 350, right? And over there, the average income was a lot higher, right? And so people had what we don't even know exists here in Toronto, disposable income, right? And so they were able to actually purchase these homes and pay them off in a reasonable period of time where you could truly say, I own this house.
But
right?
I think because the interest isn't as high there. Not everyone wants to live in Alberta. And the more outskirts you get, I've done like 200 transactions. One of them in particular, I remember, because she bought it for so cheap, $40,000. She bought a duplex, bringing in $1,600 a month for $40,000. It was in Geraldton, Ontario, like an hour north of Thunder Bay. And that just goes to show you the complete difference between real estate in Canada. People say real estate in Canada is unaffordable. But my client just bought a duplex for $40,000.
Yeah.
So it completely depends on the city. So
and where you're at, for sure.
So when you ask your question, can you repeat the question one more time for me?
Yeah, like is real estate really unaffordable, or are people just buying the wrong way?
Well, it's unaffordable if you want to buy in the major cities, Toronto, Vancouver, if you're, have average wealth, average income. If you're willing to go to the outskirts to buy real estate, then sure, it's not going to be unaffordable. But who wants to go to buttfuck nowhere to buy a place?
Well,
there's nothing wrong with staying in Toronto, renting at half the price, and continuing to live your life.
For sure, but at the same time, right? People are always looking for a way to create some level of income stream, whether that's passive, that doesn't require their attention or time. And what better than a property, right? It's sitting there. You put people in there, they pay the rent, and if you can cash flow it, why not? Right?
I think the vast majority of home buyers don't do it for that reason.
But that's only because the market is where it's at.
No, I disagree. Okay. I think the vast majority of property owners don't see it as I think the vast majority of first-time home buyers, which is what I deal with, they don't see it as a passive income stream. They see it as a vehicle to grow their financials over time by owning a property, because they've been taught since they were 5 years old, you should own, you shouldn't rent, you should eventually own.
I agree.
But when you live in a property, yes, it's going to go up over time and you're going to build your net worth, but there's no active income stream unless you buy a duplex, triplex. Of course, there are some more forward-thinking people who are more financially savvy that on their first property, they buy it as a rental to get an income stream and they rent somewhere else. But I don't think that's the norm. So I think it is more of an affordability perspective. And I think it has a lot to do with immigration over the years that we had so many people in here. They propped up the house prices. And because of that, we've seen like a massive downturn, like 30, 40% since the peak. And prices have been like either going down or flat for the past 3 to 4 years. So, and it's so crazy. No one, like there are some people, but no one wants to buy now because it's flat or declining. But when it was going up crazy, 20% every year, everyone and their mom was like, let me buy this house.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting how the trends go, eh? Okay. And when it comes to that specifically, I know you mentioned there was a question that popped up in my head as you were talking there. When it comes to affordability. Oh yeah, that's right. So